I'm Eric Lanigan with Lanigan & Lanigan Attorneys in Winter Park, Florida. I want to talk for a few minutes about the general practice of buying real estate in Florida, because we get many foreign investors and they know nothing about things that the locals, let's say, will just take for granted. So let's go over just a couple of those rudimentary things that you need to consider if you're a foreign investor coming into the United States. And specifically, who are the people, who are the players involved in looking for real estate and owning real estate in Central Florida. First of all is your real estate agent. Every buyer should have what we now call a buyer's agent. There's a seller's agent, that's the real estate company that has the property listed for sale. You can go directly to those people, but I always recommend to people that you contact an agent who is going to help you find the kind of property in the locale that you're looking for, and they are working specifically for you. They are not just trying to sell one particular piece of property on which they have a listing. And the good news is that although the buyer's agent is representing you and looking for what you want to find, ultimately they are paid by the seller, because the seller pays the real estate commission and it's divided up between the seller's agent and the buyer's agent. The second person in the equation is the lawyer. I think lawyers are very important in real estate transactions, especially in Florida. And although I've lived here all my life, I've got to tell you, Florida has a history of a lot of shady real estate activity that goes back to the 1920s, when they used to sell swampland to unsuspecting northerners who would come down here and think they bought a lot in some resort community and find out that it was underwater and there wasn't even a road to get there. There's a lot of stories about that type of activity. It's also a history of booms and busts in real estate, where the real estate market goes from red hot to ice cold. And it can be red hot in an area and ice cold a mile away. And if you're not really familiar with all of that, it can become a real problem. For instance, I've lived in Central Florida my whole life. I grew up here, went to school here, have lived here. I know the area. I know which sections are consistent with what it is you're intending to do. Are you buying a property for rental? What kind of rental? Do you want to rent to retirees? Do you want to rent to college students, to young families? Big difference in those types of markets, and big difference as to the area that you want to be in, depending upon who you're looking for. If you buy a duplex that's a mile away from University of Central Florida, like it or not, you're going to be renting to college students. You're not going to be renting to the retirees, because they are not going to live in that neighborhood. So all of that becomes critical, and you can literally have two houses that are a mile away from each other, and yet the marketplace, the demographics of who you're going to rent to are night and day. And the difference between where you may ultimately want to live in a college neighborhood versus a neighborhood with families or retirees, big difference, yet they can be as close as a mile away from each other. Next player in the game would be the title insurance company. Title insurance is something we have here in the U.S., which is a company which, like its name implies, insures the title to your property. They do an inspection of the public records to determine whether or not the title is what we call clean, without any claims or liens. And then they issue a title insurance policy to insure against unknown title defects. And there's a critical word there, unknown title defects or liens. Every property will have some type of lien on it, whether it's an easement for the power company to come through to lay power lines or repair power lines, or an easement for a neighbor to drive over the property to get to their property, mortgages, all judgments that have been entered against the property owner who lives there. All of those things can affect the title to the property. So if you get handed a title insurance policy or a title insurance commitment, it doesn't mean that the title or that the property is free and clear of all liens or encumbrances. It means that here they are, and we'll insure the property but for these things. Well, how significant are those things? Which gets us then back to the lawyer to address those issues and to be able to tell you, well, this lien is very common, it's a power company lien, it's just so that they can come over your property to repair power lines, or is it something that is really going to detrimentally impact the value of your property or even the quality of your title? So that becomes critical, and you're not going to find that out just by reading through the title insurance policy. One thing I always try to tell people, especially foreign nationals coming into the United States, is you've got to be very, very careful of what I refer to as the one-stop shopping. The situation where everything from your visa to the property you're going to buy to the real estate agent you're going to use to the title company, that this one company is telling you that they're going to provide all of these things to you. And I think it's a huge mistake. I've seen it especially, and I don't mean to pick on visa service companies, the people who get your visas for you, get the visa to come into the country, but I've had several cases where it's just been a disaster, and I found out that, well, they were working with this visa service, and the visa service said go to this lawyer, and the visa service said go to this realtor, and they're all sort of all linked together. It sounds very convenient, but I fervently believe that it is not in your best interest. You need all of these professionals to be independent of each other. Their allegiance and their friendships don't need to be between each other. They each need to be to you. And this is especially true to be independent of the seller. So if you look at a property and the seller says, oh, well, I know a lawyer and I know of this, I know of that, step back. It's not going to be, it might be a little more inconvenient. It's not going to be as easy, but independently get those people to represent you in these different areas. Real estate, agent, lawyer, title insurance company. Find them yourself. It'll all come together, be much easier than you think, but avoid at all costs the one-stop shopping location. Again, I'm Eric Lanigan, Lanigan & Lanigan Attorneys in Winter Park, Florida.